video, we're breaking down what happens to your taxes the moment you add a partner to your LLC, the new forms, the new deadlines, and the obligations that come with it. Many business owners don't realize that adding even one member to an LLC can trigger a tax reclassification by the IRS. That shift changes how your business files taxes, when those taxes are due, and how income gets reported. If you're not aware of it, it can easily lead to missed deadlines and avoidable penalties. My name is Erin Ye, and here on LLC Deals, we focus on helping business owners make smarter decisions about how they structure and manage their LLCs. Quick disclosure before we continue, this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not a CPA or tax attorney, and tax rules can change. Always speak with a qualified tax professional about your specific situation. Now let's get into it. What most people get wrong before they add a partner. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. When you have a single member LLC, the IRS basically treats you as a sole proprietor by default. You report your business income on Schedule C, you file with your personal return, and your federal deadline is April 15th. Simple enough, but the moment you add a second member to that LLC, even just one person, the IRS stops treating your business the same way entirely. You are no longer a sole proprietor in the eyes of the IRS. Your LLC is now treated as a partnership by default, and partnerships come with a completely different set of rules, forms, and deadlines. Most people don't realize this is happening. They think adding a partner is mainly a business or legal decision. They focus on the operating agreement, the equity split, maybe what each partner is contributing, but what they don't focus on until it's too late is what that change does to their taxes. So let's walk through exactly what shifts and why it matters. The tax classification change that most people overlook. When your LLC goes from one member to two or more, the IRS changes how the business is taxed. As a single member LLC, your business is treated as a disregarded entity and taxed like a sole proprietorship. But once a second member is added, the IRS automatically treats the business as a partnership. This isn't something you apply for or choose. The change happens automatically based on the numbers of members in the LLC. And once that shift happens, several things change at the same time. The tax form your business files changes, filing deadline changes, the way income flows to you personally changes, and the way each partner pays taxes on their share of the business income changes as well. Let's walk through what each of those changes actually looks like. New form, new deadline. As a single member LLC taxed as a sole proprietor, you reported your business income on Schedule C attached to your personal Form 1040. You had one deadline, April 15. As a multi-member LLC treated as a partnership, you now file Form 1065. That is a completely separate business tax return, not attached to your personal taxes. And here's the shift that catches people off guard. The federal deadline for Form 1065 is not April 15th. It's the 15th day of the third month after the tax year ends. For most calendar year partnerships, the deadline falls in mid-March. That's a full month earlier than what single member LLC owners are used to. Why the earlier deadline? Because partnerships also have to generate something called Schedule K1s. Each partner gets one. The K1 shows that partner share of the income, deductions, and credits from the business for the year. Each partner needs their K1 before they can finish their personal tax return. So if the partnership files late, the K1s are late, and when the K1s are late, everyone's personal filing gets backed up. That's why the IRS pushes the deadline earlier to give partners enough time to receive their K1s and file their own returns on time. This alone is one of the biggest adjustments new business partners have to make. You can't just think about April anymore. March is now a real deadline with real consequences. How income is split and reported. Next up, how does your income actually get divided and reported once you have a partner? In a partnership, income doesn't get taxed at the business level. It passes through to the partners directly. Each partner reports their share of the income on their personal tax return based on what the K1 says. How is that share determined? That's where your partnership agreement comes in. A partnership agreement spells out how profits and losses are divided between partners. It might be 50-50, it might be 70-30, it might be based on contribution amounts or hours worked. Whatever you and your partner agree to, that's what gets reflected on the K-1s. Here's the key point: the IRS wants to see that your split is based on something real. Without a written partnership agreement, the IRS defaults to assuming an equal split between partners, regardless of what you two actually agree to verbally. So if one partner contributed 80% of the capital and you had a handshake deal about an 80-20 split, but there's no written agreement, the IRS isn't going to care about the handshake. Without documentation, they go to the default. That's why getting a proper operating agreement in place before you add a partner isn't just good legal practice, it directly affects how your taxes are calculated and reported. Self-employment tax, how it works for partners. Here's a piece that trips people up constantly. When you're a sole proprietor or single member LLC, you pay self-employment tax on your net business income. That covers your Social Security and Medicare contributions, since you're not getting a traditional paycheck with those automatically withheld. When you have a partner and you're both active in the business, the same logic applies, but now it applies to both of you separately. Each partner pays self-employment tax on their share of the partnership's income, not just on a salary, on their actual share of the profits. So if the business made 200 grand in net profit and you and your partner each had a 50% stake, you're each looking at $100,000 in income subject to self-employment tax. Self-employment tax is made up of two parts: Social Security and Medicare. The combined rate is 15.3% up to the annual Social Security wage base and 2.9% on anything above that. The wage base adjusts every year, so always verify the current figures with a tax professional or directly on the IRS website before filing. What this means practically: adding a partner doesn't eliminate your self-employment tax obligation, it redistributes it. Your own liability may go down if your share of the income goes down, but the business as a whole is generating the same tax obligation, just spread across two people. Understanding this upfront helps both partners plan their cash properly throughout the year. Partners cannot be W-2 employees of the partnership. This surprises a lot of people. In many businesses, owners can put themselves on payroll and receive a W-2. But in a partnership, active partners generally cannot be treated as W-2 employees of that same partnership. Because of that, there's no paycheck withholding your taxes. Instead, each partner is responsible for making their own quarterly estimated tax payments to the IRS. These payments are typically made 4 times a year, and each partner calculates and pays their share based on their expected income. If those payments are skipped or underpaid, the IRS can apply underpayment penalties, even if the full amount is eventually paid later. This is one of the most common surprises for new partners. Without regular estimated payments, tax season can come with both a large bill and additional penalties. Keeping your numbers organized as a partnership. Here's something that becomes more important, not less, when you have a partner in the business. Staying on top of your books throughout the year isn't just about your own taxes anymore. Your partner's tax situation depends on the same records. Your K-1s are generated from the same numbers. If your books are a mess when March arrives, it creates problems for both of you at the same time. This is one of the areas where using accounting software consistently throughout the year actually makes a real difference. If you want to see how that works, you can check out QuickBooks using the link in the description below. Let me show you what I mean. If you look at the QuickBooks homepage, here the focus is on real-time visibility. It's built around seeing your financial picture clearly instead of guessing, and this is what changes everything. If you're tracking income and expenses consistently throughout the year using accounting software like QuickBooks, you're not waiting until March or April to figure out what happened. You can see your numbers as they update. As you scroll down, you'll see features like tracking expenses, seeing cash flow, running reports, and sending invoices. These are the tools that prevent deadline panic. When your expenses are categorized properly and your income is logged consistently, you can estimate your taxes more accurately. You can adjust quarterly payments before penalties happen. You can see whether you're trending towards a higher tax bill months in advance instead of being surprised. That's the difference between reactive and prepared. When your books are organized, deadlines feel routine. When your books are messy, deadlines feel feel threatening. It's rarely the IRS date that creates anxiety, it's not knowing whether you're ready for it. If you want to simplify that side of your business, I'll link QuickBooks below so you can check out the current plans and features. Staying organized isn't just about accounting, it's one of the simplest ways to reduce tax-related stress and protect your cash flow. Once your numbers are clear, the calendar stops feeling intimidating. What happens if you elect S-corp status? Some multi-member LLCs elect S-corporation taxation by filing Form 2553 with the IRS. If that election is made, the business files Form 1120S instead of Form 1065, and the filing deadline remains mid-March for calendar year businesses. What changes is how income is handled. With an S-corp election, active owners usually pay themselves a reasonable salary through payroll, which is reported on a W-2. Any remaining profit above that salary can then be distributed without being subject to self-employment tax. This structure can reduce self-employment tax compared to a standard partnership setup, but it also adds responsibilities. You now have payroll to manage, payroll tax deposits to make, and additional filings to stay on top of. For businesses with strong profits, the savings can be meaningful, but it isn't the right move for every business, and it's a decision that should be made with a qualified tax professional who understands your numbers. The mistakes that cost new partners money. Let's run through the most common mistakes people make when adding a partner so you can stay ahead of them. Missing the March deadline. After years of filing in April, many single-member LLC owners who add a partner don't realize their deadline moved to March. They miss it, and late partnership penalties stack per partner per month, and that adds up fast. No written partnership agreement. Verbal agreements don't hold up with the IRS. Without a written documentation showing your profit and loss split, the default is equal division regardless of your actual arrangement. Skipping quarterly estimated payments. Both partners need to be making these payments throughout the year. Paying everything at once at filing often results in underpayment penalties on top of the actual tax bill. Not updating state and IRS records. Adding a member is a structural change to your LLC, leaving the old single member classification in place while filing as a partnership creates mismatches that invite problems down the road. None of these are complicated mistakes. They're all avoidable once you know the system. Quick summary. When a single member LLC becomes a multi-member partnership, a few key things change. You move from Schedule C to Form 1065, and your filing deadline shifts from April to mid-March. The partnership issues Schedule K-1s to each partner, and each partner reports and pays taxes on their share of the income. Partners also handle their own quarterly estimated payments, and your operating agreement determines how income is divided and reported. Final takeaway. Adding a partner to your LLC is a big step, but it also changes how your taxes work. Your filing deadline moves earlier, your tax forms change, and both partners are responsible for their share of the income and estimated payment. The best way to avoid problems is simple. Have a written partnership agreement, stay aware of your March filing deadline, make quarterly estimated payments, and keep your books organized throughout the year. And if you're ever unsure how your LLC is classified after adding a partner, it's always worth checking with a qualified tax professional before the new tax season. And if you're ever unsure how your LLC is classified after adding a partner, it's always worth checking with a qualified tax professional before the next tax season. If this breakdown helped you understand what actually happens to your taxes when you bring on a partner, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our upcoming guides on LLC structure, taxes, and compliance. I've linked QuickBooks below if you want help keeping your books organized throughout the year. I'm Erin from LLC Deals. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.